Hello, hello everyone. I hope everybody's doing okay today. If you're here joining me today, my name is Janet Edwards and it is, hold on just one second. It is Thursday, March the, what? Okay, there we go. It's Thursday, March the 26th. My name is Janet Edwards and I'm here for our weekly card class. This week, we're going to create 3 really pretty cards using the Petals of Beauty and Words of Beauty bundles. So we're using, sorry, I was putting some lotion on my hands. We're using the Petals of Beauty and the Words of Beauty stamp sets, bundles actually. We're going to create some really cute cards. I'm going to go ahead and move my camera down to my hands so you guys can see the work surface. If you're here joining me today, please leave me a comment and let me know that you're here. Put my rings back on. I have a few things to tell you this morning. The new my catalog pre-order, the May to August catalog pre-order is going to be here this afternoon. So probably Saturday, I'll do like a reveal video where I'll show you guys what I received. I have a doctor's appointment really early in the morning, so I will not be able to do it tomorrow. So hopefully I'll be able to do it Saturday, okay? But I'll let you know ahead of time. If you are on my email newsletter list, you should have gotten information about a current class that I'm offering. It is the Brush with Beauty One Sheet Wonder class. We're going to create 10 cards. There's also a video, a sneak peek video out on my YouTube channel. We're going to create 10 cards in this class. The class is $59 shipped in the US. You will also get a PDF tutorial with the One Sheet Wonder guide to show you how to cut your paper. It's a class kit to go. And these are the cards that we're going to be creating. I'm just going to show you real quick the cards that you'll create with that One Sheet Wonder. Super simple, easy cards, very cute. You're going to get a half a pack of the Brushed with Beauty paper, and you're only going to use 3 6x6 sheets. So you'll get 6 12x12 sheets of paper, and you're only going to use 3 6x6. So you'll have quite a bit of paper left over. This is what your kit will look like. You're going to receive, let's see, in the kit, you'll have a full pack of the Pearls of Beauty embellishments. You'll receive a full spool of linen thread. You're going to receive 3 yards of basic beige ribbon, a cardstock pack with all of the cardstock pieces that you'll need for stamping and die cutting, and a pack with all of your pre-cut card bases and embossed pieces or die cut pieces that are not part of the bundle. So you'll receive all of those with envelopes. Shipping is included in the $59. And you're also going to get, let me put this up real quick, your 6 sheets of the Brush with Beauty Designer Series paper. And so you're going to receive these 6 sheets here, front and back, really pretty paper. And you're also going to receive 2 full sheets of the Whispers of Texture Designer Series paper. I don't know if you can see that, but it has like a line texture. And then this one is almost like a herringbone texture. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but you'll get 2 full 12x12 sheets of that Whispers of Texture paper also. There's a link in the description of the video where you can register for the class. Registration is still, it's open through Sunday of this week. So if you're interested, please go register. I have a few kits left if you're interested in that. I'll also send out a reminder Sunday, which will be the last day to register. So I'll send out a reminder Sunday to my email newsletter subscribers. So if you're not on my email list, please subscribe to my email newsletter. In the description of the video, there's a link for that also. Okay, let's see. We're going to, like I said, today we're going to be using, for the class, I also used both of these bundles. Now, you will need the Petals of Beauty bundle for the die cut leaves and stamping and any stamping that we did. You can use any sentiment stamp set that you had, but this is part of the Brush with Beauty suite of products. So I went ahead and used the Words of Beauty because you can cut out the just because. There's 3 different layers. You can layer these words together. We're going to do some of that today in class. And then it also has these 3 labels. So I chose to use this sentiment stamp set for my cards. But like I said, you can use any sentiment stamp set that you have. If you don't want to purchase the Words of Beauty bundle, but you do need the Petals of Beauty bundle to create the cards as I have designed them. If you have the option to add those on, those 2 bundles, you have the option to add those on during registration. When you add them on, you get them at catalog price, which means you don't pay any tax or any additional shipping for the bundles, okay? So today we are going to create these really pretty cards. Here I'm going to show you how to layer this word on the background, the first die cut and the second and third die cuts in the Words of Beauty bundle. Let's see if I can get that out. This card here, we're going to use some watercolor paper, and I'm going to show you how to do some watercoloring. We're going to watercolor the background on this one. Sorry, I'm going to spit my gum out real quick. And then this third one, the third card here, we're going to do just some double layering of the word because, and we're going to use a little piece of vellum. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get started with this card right here. I'm going to move my chair up. I think it's, you know how sometimes you sit in those, you have the adjustable chairs and they tend to creep down on you as you move them around. They creep down on you, right? All right, so we're going to start with our card. I have a crumb cake card base with a piece of the Brush with Beauty Designer Series paper. I have a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock for the inside of the card. Then I've got a piece of vellum here and a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock that we're going to stamp our sentiment on. But I want to start by stamping my flowers and my petals. All right, so we're going to go ahead. I'm going to grab my silicone mat because I like to have my silicone mat. I have found too, you know, I usually use the piercing mat for cushion underneath the stamps, but I found that the silicone mat gives just enough cushion underneath your photopolymer stamps, like the piercing mat does. All right, so for this card, we're going to need the leaf, the small leaf in the set. We're going to need the like the veining for the leaf. We'll need that stamp. We're going to use the outline image of the small flower and the filler image for the small flower. I'm going to use Calypso Coral and my Mossy Meadow ink pad, which is right here. Okay, so we're going to use Calypso Coral and Mossy Meadow ink. I'm also going to use a piece of scratch paper because I'm going to stamp off we're going to do a little two-step stamping. So I'm going to open my Calypso Coral and my Mossy Meadow over here to the side. I'm going to, oh, there's a bug. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to ink up my stamp, my leaf image, and then I'm going to stamp off. All right, then I'm going to stamp my leaf. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to stamp off, and I'm going to stamp my leaf again. Then I want to take the filler, the little veining stamp, and stamp off, and then I'm going to line that up inside the leaf. We're going to do it one more time. We'll do the same on this one. Thank you. Is it Shimmy Kiss? Thank you so much. This card is actually from a class that Stampin' Up did. They used it to make a box, and I thought it would be just as pretty as a card. All right, so I'm inking up my outline image of my flower in Calypso Coral, and I'm going to stamp off, and then we're going to stamp. I'm going to do it again, stamp off, and stamp. Then I want to take my filler image, and we're going to stamp off, and I got to figure out how this goes. I think it goes this way. We're going to stamp and fill that flower. Okay, then I'm going to take the inside. Oh, okay, Jen. I thought you had joined me before, but I couldn't remember if it was you or not. All right, so I'm going to take the little inside for the flower, the little dots, and I'm going to stamp those right in the center. I'm going full strength in Calypso Coral for that. All right. Then I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. I'm going to move all this out of the way. And I want to try to get as much of my die cutting on my plate as possible. Maybe I'll try it this way. I'm going to put it on my plate, and then I'll run it through the machine. See how that works. All right, so I want to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut these apart because I don't like to run my paper through twice because it breaks down the fibers in the paper. So let's fish out our, which ones we're using? We're using the Just Small Flower. That's because I need this one and this one. And we're going to use all three of the Just. I'm going to use, I have a piece of vellum, a piece of Very Vanilla, and a piece of crumb cake cardstock. So we're going to use, this will be our second, so you have 3 stages, right, of the outlines for the, I'm cutting these words also. So you have a full solid background image, and then you have a second die cut that cuts, some things are still filled in, like the S is still filled in. So it's like a second layer image, and then you have the third that cuts out the actual word. So I know that this solid image here is the one that's going to be the first die cut image. This one is going to be the second, and then this one will be the third, and then we're going to cut out our flowers. I'm going to use a little bit of Post-it note tape to hold over my flowers. So hopefully it won't move. We're going to do this and layer that right there. Those are all layered. I'm going to grab my top plate. And then I'm just going to run it through my machine. Uh-oh, it moved. Let me fix that. Hold on. Okay, hold on. It moved again. See, this is why I use Post-it note tape on everything. I'm not very good at getting my die cuts in because when it makes that first pop, my die cuts usually move on me. Okay. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do those two, and then I'm going to do these because I don't want to run that through a third time. All right, let's pull this off of here. Have to be very careful. And there's a little dot on this just, it's like the tip of the J. So you have to be very careful. I use my take your pick tool, like the gum end of my take your pick tool, to pick that up. And I'm just going to hold it till I can get some adhesive on it. Okay. And this one here, every time it makes that first pop, these will move. These have moved on me. So I'm going to just use some Post-it note tape to hold them still. The only problem I have with Post-it note tape sometimes is when you run it through your machine, when you first use a piece of Post-it note tape, it's very, very tacky. And so when I run it through my machine the first time, it will sometimes stick to my project. You know, like it'll make everything else pretty sticky. So there's my outline of the word. Then this is the next piece here. And put that up so I don't lose it. Throw that in the garbage. And then I have the flower and one leaf. And I need to cut out one more flower and one more leaf. And I probably should have done that when there it is right there. When I ran that through the machine the second time. Okay, let me do this one more time. I'm gonna layer these on again and hold it down with some Post-it note tape. Well, which way does this go, Jana? It's not that difficult. There we go. Right there. I didn't want to die cut everything ahead of time this time because I wanted you guys to see this bundle in action. All right, here we go. We're gonna crank it through. My chair's squeaking today too. All right, there's another flower and another leaf, and I'm gonna add some adhesive to these and let it start curing or drying while we assemble our card. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my silicone mat and I am going to add some glue, some liquid adhesive to the ends of these leaves, these ends of these petals, and I'm just gonna let it sit for a little while just to get tacky. You see how the glue is white when it comes out? When it starts to dry, it gets really tacky. And if you let it dry just a little bit, it will not be so squishy when you go to put it down on your project. So I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to this little dot. Let's see if I can do this and not drop it. You might see the little brown dot is right there on the end of my take your pick tool, and I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to that dot. And then I want to put it I'm going to tap some of that off. See if I can get that right there on the J. All right. Now we're going to set that aside and let that dry. I want to turn my word over and I'm going to add some adhesive to it and then let it start to cure up too. Just using my take your pick tool to kind of hold it still. You could use adhesive sheet on this as well. I just didn't have any. Or actually, I couldn't find it. I know it's here somewhere. Does that mean it's time to purge your craft room when you can't find your supplies? I really do need to purge and have a BOGO sale or have some sort of a shopping special. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. Then I'm going to take my flowers and I'm going to, let's see, how do we have this? This is this way. I'm going to take my flowers and just put them on top of those petals like that. And like that. I'm going to move this to the side and I'm going to let that start drying off to the side and we're going to work on putting our card together. Okay, I'm going to grab some adhesive. I want to add some, I'm just using snail. This is for the inside of the card. It's a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of cardstock. And we're just going to layer that on to the inside of the card so that when you want to write a sentiment, you have a nice clean surface to write your sentiment. And then this is a piece of the Brush with Beauty Designer Series paper. That's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. 4 by 5 1/4. Just add some adhesive to that. And then add that to the outside of our card. All right. And I have a piece of vellum that I'm going to add some adhesive to, making sure to only add it to the center part where this piece is going to cover. You don't want to add an adhesive like around the edges because it will show through the vellum. So we're going to just try to do this as best we can. Okay. And then we're going to put that right in the center of our card. Then what I want to do is I want to, okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish up our word since it's dry. I'm going to set that aside again. I'm going to finish up our word. I'm going to grab my tweezers and grab this. And I'm just going to put it on this piece of vellum here. Using my tweezers to help me guide it into place. And see, it just sticks down without any glue gushing out anywhere. All right, so now I'm going to do the same for the UPS truck is here with my pre-order. Yay! I'm so excited. You can see him in the Ring camera on my watch. So excited. I can't wait. We have new ink pads in case you haven't heard. We do have new ink pads coming out, and I ordered all the new in colors in the ink pads. Now we don't have, I don't think they've released our regular colors in the ink pads yet. I would guess they're probably going to do that pretty soon. Probably May when the catalog goes live. But I'm so excited because they're magnetic. Can't wait. And we went back to the Stampin' Up! Has gone back to the felt ink pads instead of like right now we have, it's like a sponge, and they've gone back to the felt, which I'm so excited about. All right, so now that I have the glue on here, I am going to put this carefully onto this outline. Can I do it with my tweezers? And again, I'm just going to use my tweezers to help me lay this out on that outline. Like so. Isn't that pretty? And it's 3 layers. So it's chrome cake cardstock on top of vellum on top of the vanilla. All right, now what I want to do is I have taken, I'm going to set that aside and just let it cure up really well. I want to take my piece of very vanilla cardstock, and I'm going to, I know I want my flower here, and I want my other flower here at the bottom. I'm gonna just position everything out, like create my layout so I know where I want to stamp my sentiment. Now, the stamp set has the different words in it. Where's it at? Let's see. So you have all these different words, right? So what I did was I took and figured this all out. I had it all laid out, and I figured out where I wanted my because and the I love you on the cardstock. And I just laid, before I inked them up or anything, or even put them on the block, I laid the stamps down onto my cardstock just underneath my wording here, and I laid it exactly where I wanted it, and then I just took my block and mounted it onto my block. So I already have my words pre-mounted, so I know where they're going to go on. I have the sentiment pre-mounted, so I know where it's going to go on this piece of very vanilla cardstock. But I want to make sure that I have everything laid out, that my positioning is right before I stamp it. So I'm going to lay this right here, and then I want to make sure that I can stamp this right there. So I'm going to grab my Calypso Coral ink again. And I'm going to leave everything just like it is. I'm going to ink up my stamps. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment right there. You could even move this down and move your flowers however you want it. I kind of like it like that. Okay. So now that I have that how I want it, I am going to add some adhesive to the back of this piece of cardstock and glue it down to my card front. Last week I had some technical difficulties, and for some reason it stopped, my video stopped recording on YouTube, so I had to upload it after on YouTube. So I used snail, I still call it snail adhesive. I used the Stampin' Seal adhesive to put the piece of vellum down to the card base, but when I put my cardstock down, my sentiment piece down on top of the vellum, I used liquid adhesive, so that way if I needed to scooch my sentiment around it all, I could. It would give me that it would give me that, you know, time to move it around if I needed to, because the glue's not completely dry underneath. And when you use the Stampin' Seal, it's like a double-sided tape, so you don't have that. It's instant. When it sticks, it's instant, right? All right, so now I'm going to grab all of my pieces. I'm going to grab my Stampin' Dimensionals, my regular dimensionals, my mini dimensionals, and we are going to add some dimensionals to these pieces. We're going to pop them up. Oh, I'm going to need to get another sheet of dimensionals. I'm adding a dimensional where the flower and the petal meet, just for that extra reinforcement. All right, now I need, do I have a set of baby dimensionals here? Let me see, guys. Nope, I don't. Hold on. Nope. All right, let's see. What do I have here? I have maybe I can use some regular dimensionals here. That's wide enough. Yep, it looks like it is. Okay, that's gonna work. Then I want to grab my card again. I'm gonna take these backings off and adhere these flowers down to the corner. That's already down, so I'm going to adhere this just like that. I'm going to glue my word down first, because then that will tell me how, then I'll know how much, where I can put my other flower up here in the corner. So I'm going to put my word right here, like so. Then I'll add my other flower here at the top. These are so pretty. You could make them, you know, this would be, you could do an anniversary card, a friendship card. You could use this for just about anything, a just because card. Okay. I'm going to use our Pearls of Beauty and add a couple of those to our card front here, and one of the smaller ones right about here. And then I'm going to go right down here, right up here, and one more right there. And there's our first card. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I think it's so pretty. I'm trying to get it in frame, sorry. Okay, so there's our first card. Then we're gonna go ahead and do the watercolor card next. Or should we save that and do that last? Let's go ahead and do that. All right, I need my second project pieces, which are here. And I already went ahead, I'll show you how I stamped the flowers and the leaves, but I already went ahead and die cut those pieces out, so we don't have to die cut those again. Okay, so what we have is we have our card base, very vanilla card base with a 3 3/4 by 5" piece for the inside. Then I have another piece of the Brushed with Beauty Designer Series paper, and this is the other side that we're going to adhere to the front. Then I have a piece of watercolor paper that we're going to just do this cool watercolor, this background technique on the back. Thank you, Sherry. I'm glad you like it. Thanks for being here. Tell me where you guys are from. Jen, Sherry, where are y'all from? I would love to know. I'm in Corpus Christi, Texas, and it is cool in the mornings and warm in the evenings here lately. All right, so for this card, I used Old Olive ink for the leaf, and then I used, what color? I think I used Darling Duckling because that's the color that is in the paper. I used Darling Duckling and Memento Black for the little center of the flower. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll stamp. I'm going to grab my Old Olive. And my black. And then we also have a little sentiment that I cut out from the die set. Let me show you. I have it right here. I used this long sentiment die here that's in the suite. Oh, Washington. I bet it's beautiful up there right now. It's springtime, right? Our spring comes a little early down here, I think. We usually start getting springtime weather in February. All right, so we're gonna stamp. I'm gonna use the bigger flower and the larger flower, and we're only gonna stamp the outline image of the larger flower. So I'm gonna grab my paper, which is right here, because we're going to, actually, I think I stamped this full strength. So let me clean my stamp really quick. Grab this, clean my stamp. Make sure it's clean. I think I cleaned it yesterday, but I just want to make sure. All right. So Indiana's probably really pretty this time of year too. I have a friend that was they lived in Illinois. Illinois is close to Indiana, isn't it? I'm horrible with geography, but they were from Illinois, and it was always so pretty up there when we went to visit. All right, so we're gonna stamp the outline of our larger flower, full strength, in Darling Duckling. Then I'm going to use the other leaf image in the stamp set to stamp our leaf in Old Olive, and we're gonna go full strength on that one as well. I like to do a test run on my stamping just to make sure I'm getting enough ink on it's like priming your stamp, I guess, just to make sure I'm getting enough ink on my stamp. All right, then I need the little filler for the flower, and we're gonna just stamp that separately. And it has a die, little bitty, teeny tiny die in the bundle. It's this one right here that cuts out the center of that flower. So little bitty die. We're gonna stamp our little flower center in Memento Black. Stampin' Up! Is also coming out with a hybrid black ink pad. So if you don't have a Memento black ink or a StazOn ink pad and you want to get those, once they've sold out of their, Stampin' Up! Isn't going to carry it anymore because they've created a hybrid ink pad that you have to let it dry for a little bit before you can color on it, but it's supposed to be like a combination of StazOn and Memento that you can use with all coloring mediums. Like, so you can use it with your coloring, your watercolor pencils, you can use it with watercoloring, and you can use it with Stampin' Blends. So if you need a refill for your Memento or you need a Memento ink pad, make sure that you grab it. Grab it now before it's gone, okay? All right, I'm gonna use Mossy Meadow and I'm going to stamp up my sentiment stamp on this little label that says, I appreciate you. We're just gonna stamp it right here in the center. Then of course I would take and I would use the dies and I would die cut all of these pieces just like I did before. But I'm gonna set them aside since I already have my pieces die cut. I'm gonna set my sentiment up here. Don't let me forget it's up above because I'll forget where I put it. Then I want to take my piece of watercolor paper. Stampin' Up! Sells watercolor paper, and I'm going to take just a watercolor brush. I think these came back in stock. I'm not 100% sure. I know they stopped carrying them for a while because they were having trouble finding someone that made them. But I believe we have them back in stock now. So I'm just going to clean this one. I'm going to use the little mat that comes with our glass mat. I'm going to put just a little drop of Petal Pink right here, just one little bit, and then I'm going to use some Calypso Coral right over here, just one little drop. With the watercolor paper, you want to take and you want to get your paper wet first. So I'm going to just squeeze out some water out of my brush and I'm going to just run it over my paper and get it wet. Just like that. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to take my Petal Pink and I'm going to turn it sideways because I work better if it's tilted a little. I'm going to take my Petal Pink and just run it through onto my paper, and that paper will pick up that water. The paper being wet will the color will just run. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. You see how it just goes right into the paper. Now I'm going to take my, that's really bright, so I try to water it down as best I can. And I just want to make it just a little bit because I just want that color to be just a little bit brighter. I like the two colors mixed together. Okay, now I'm going to use just my paper towel over here, and as I'm moving my brush, I'm squeezing water to get that water out into that tip to clean it off. And I'll just put my cap back on it and have it ready for next time. This, I'm gonna let it sit. That water will run, so I'm just gonna move it back and forth and you can see that color just running all over the paper. So I'm going to set this right here and let it dry. I'm going to use my paper towel just to blot up this ink. And the good thing about Stampin' Up! Inks is they're water-based, so I can take this pad here to my kitchen and just wash it out, and it comes right up. Leaves it like it was new. All right, so I'm gonna set this here to the side and just let it dry, and we're gonna go ahead and start assembling our card. All right, like I have my card base here. I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal to add some adhesive to the back of this panel, this designer series paper panel. We are going to just glue this down to our card front, leaving that little border around the edge. Then, if I wanted to, I could grab my, hold on, I'm gonna grab my, I'm gonna plug in my blow dryer here real quick. I should have had this plugged in already. It's under my desk. So I'm going to use my heat gun just to dry this paper real fast. Sorry for the noise. It should be good. And look at that pretty watercolored background we have. Isn't that pretty? So then, because this is so thick, I am going to use some liquid adhesive on the back of this watercolor paper before we glue it down. I want to make sure it gets stuck to the card front really well. These cards today are not my clean and simple cards like we created last week. And I just like to look and see. I think I like it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. I'm bending the paper because it gets a little warped after it's been wet and you dry it like we just did. And we don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to grab this piece of Very Vanilla. You don't have to add this if you don't want to. I am going to add this to the inside, and then I have a strip of designer series paper that I'm going to add over the bottom of this piece on the inside. Okay. And like I said, I went ahead and die cut the pieces. So we have our strip of designer series paper for the inside, and then we have our flower, our leaf, and then our die cut piece for the inside of the flower right there, that little bitty piece. And I feel a sneeze coming on, so if I sneeze, y'all will have to forgive me. Oh, excuse me. Okay. I tried to keep it in. All right, let me see if I have some little mini dimensionals, and I don't. I'm gonna have to get some out of my drawer over here. Y'all, I don't know what it is about going on camera, but every time I start a live, my nose starts running like crazy. All right, there's that. So y'all will have to forgive my sniffles. Okay, so we're gonna add some liquid adhesive to our leaf. Go ahead and add that just to the stem. Okay. Then I want a mini dimensional for our flower center, because we're going to pop that up in the middle of our flower. I'm going to use my tweezers to help me get it positioned right, because I want to make sure, let's see, it's turned this way, and I want the dots positioned this way, like they're facing the sun. Okay, y'all are gonna have to excuse me. I need to wipe my nose. Sorry. Okay. So we will go ahead and put our leaf like this. And then I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to add, so to this one, I added the twine underneath the sentiment, but I think I want to add it under the flower. I want to see how it looks under the flower. So I'm going to grab my tape. And I'm going to take a generous amount of linen thread and fold it over. Then I'm going to loop it through my fingers twice like this. And I'm trying to make sure that it's pretty, I'm giving myself a big enough space because I want it to hang out outside the flower like this, right? I want it to be, so I'm going to hold this. I want it to be on my flower like so, which that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and grab my tape, and we're just going to tape that into place. Like that. I'm going to grab my scissors. We're going to cut it here, and then I'm going to snip this piece to make my tails. I'm going to cut this one down. And then we're going to add some Stampin' Dimensionals all around and stick this to our card front. I'm going to put one here just to there. I need one. Where'd they go? They're right there in front of me. Add one right there. And then one right here. And I'm going to put a mini right down there at the bottom. Making sure all my petals are covered. Right there and right there. Okay, so let's grab our card. We're going to take these backings off. Everybody still with me? Everybody doing okay? One thing I like about the replays is that you can go back and watch the replay and you can watch it in like double speed or, you know, watch it time and a half, whatever. So if you guys want to, if you're ever watching a replay, don't forget YouTube lets you watch it in double speed. Okay. So we're going to add this. Oh, I like that. I'm going to add that. I like it with the um, twine underneath. Okay, and our sentiment's right there, and we're going to put it right under here, like so. I need mini dimensionals, and I use about 5 mini dimensionals on this one. I find that if you use less than that when you put it down on your card, like if I left 3 and I go to push it down, these sink in to the card. So I like to use about 5 mini dimensionals, and the big dimensionals, they're too wide to fit on this small label. That's why I chose the mini dimensionals, or you could just adhere it down flat if you wanted to. I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to put it right here on our card. Then I'm going to grab my Pearls of Beauty dots, and I'm going to, since I have all this empty space here, I'm going to add a few dots there, and then I'm going to come up here and add one more. I like to decorate my cards in odd numbers. Woo. So we're using 5. Then I have this little strip of designer series paper I'm going to add some glue to. And we're going to just lay this right over the inside of our card. And there's our second card. And this, what I like about using the watercolor effect is that this card is going to be darker than this card. But as it dries, this ink will also lighten up a little. But there's our card. Which do you like better? The one with the twine underneath the sentiment or with it underneath the flower? I like this one. Okay, there's number 2. And number 3 is this one here. And we're going to go ahead and work on this one. And I haven't die cut out the letters, so we're going to have to do that. I wanted you to see, we're only going to do the letters, layer the letters once. All right, so we have all these pieces. I do, however, have the flowers. So I have a large flower already cut, and I have a center already done. Actually, I like this. Hold on. I also cut some of these leaves out of the designer series paper, and those turned out really pretty too. This green is part of the designer series paper. It's really pretty cut with those leaves. Let's see. I have another center. And I think I'm gonna cut, wait, here we go. That one's in very vanilla. Okay, we'll stamp again and see what we think. All right, so we have a vellum circle that I cut with the Spotlight on Nature dies. I have a crumb cake cardstock. There's a piece of, these are scrap pieces for die cutting. There's an embossed piece that I embossed with our new embossing folder. It's really pretty. It looks like a paper towel to me, like part of like the paper towel, the embossed part of a paper towel. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this and I'm going to add it to our card front. And I don't think I have my designer series paper pieces cut, so I need to cut those too. We're going to layer this piece on our card front like this. Then I'm going to cut my 2 pieces of designer series paper because I don't have them cut over here. All right. Let's see. I need this piece here. And let me see if I have, I do, right there. And we'll use this piece because, nope, I don't think that's going to be wide enough. Okay. So I have, and my ruler's not here either. Y'all, I'm going to have to start putting stuff where it belongs when I finish creating. Does anybody else ever do that? I have left my craft room in such a mess this week. Okay, so I need 1 piece of designer series paper that is 2 inches by 4 3/4. So I need, and that's not going to work either. Not long enough. What about this one? Nope. Well, darn it. I'll have to cut. Here we go. Maybe, oops, maybe this is 2 inches by 4 3/4. There we go. 4 3/4. And then another one that is, this floral piece is 4 1/2 by 2. So we're going to cut 2 inches and then down to 4 1/2, which that's not long enough either. My goodness. Hold, please. Be patient. Okay. Let me see. There we go. What did I say? 2 inches by 4. 2 inches by 4 1/2. 2 inches, 4 1/2. Sorry about that, guys. Twine under the flower. Thank you. Yeah, I like that too, the twine under the flower. Okay. I think I'm ready now. And I even went through before I got started and double checked all my supplies. Oh well, happens, I guess, right? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take this piece and we're going to adhere it to the card front here, and then this piece we're going to adhere like so. Okay. I'm going to use liquid glue because the panel underneath the designer paper is embossed, and I want to make sure that I get a good, it gets stuck down really good. How would you say that? A good adhesion, good, that it gets stuck down good, right? Okay, so we'll take that piece there, and then I'm making them kind of staggered on top of each other, so they're not even. All right. Oh, make sure your flowers are going the right way. We're going to take this one and we're going to go like so. Then I want to add a little bit of adhesive here at the top of the flower, because that's where my flower is going to be. And then I'm going to put some right about here because that's where my word is going to be. Right? So we don't want to add any adhesive where it might show through. I'm going to add just a little bit right there. So I'm going to turn this and I'm going to put my circle right there. Then we will let that sit. This will go on the inside in just a minute. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stamp. Get all my stuff to stamp. I'm going to put this underneath here. Okay, we're going to use this scrap piece. That's going to die cut. That piece will be a die cut. And then I need another banner, another little label for our sentiment. Okay, so that's a die cut piece. So I'm going to use Mossy Meadow for my leaf and Calypso Coral for the flower again. Then I'm also going to use Early Espresso for the inside of the flower. I tried it in crumb cake, but I liked Early Espresso best. All right, make sure that my stamps are clean because I used the large flower in Darling Duckling a while ago, right? Okay, and I need this leaf right here. Okay, so we're going to stamp. We're going to start with our leaf. I'm going to stamp it in Mossy Meadow right there, and that will lighten up too. I'm going to stamp my center of the flower in Early Espresso. I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, then I want to take my Calypso Coral and we're going to do the outline. I'm going to get it good and inked up. I'm going to stamp off. That doesn't seem like it's, I think I need to move the ink on my ink pad to the center. Either that or ink up my stamp again. Okay, we're going to stamp. I didn't mean to do that full strength. Let's see how it looks. Let's go with it. What do you think? Okay, I'm going to stamp off. And then this goes this way. I kind of like that too. Okay, we're going to go with it. All right. Need to make myself a note to ink up my Calypso Coral ink pad, huh? You can take like if you feel like your ink sometimes is all around the edges, you can take a plastic spoon and use the spoon to move the ink back to the center of your ink pad. Because sometimes as stampers, I know I go right for the center of the ink pad every time. Oh, early espresso, we're gonna stamp our sentiment that says, "You're a great friend." Ink this up. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and die cut our pieces. I'm going to move my camera, my face out of the camera, and I'm going to stand up and do this because it's just easier for me. Okay, so here's what you want to do. You want to grab your die cut machine, whether you have a this one is a Stampin' Cut and Emboss, which if you don't have one, I love this one. They also have a mini one, but you can use, use whichever one you have. But you want to start with your base, and we're going to layer. I'm going to go ahead and cut these first. I'm going to see if I can do it all at once. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to do this. Let's do this. I'm just going to grab my plate. I have my sandwich built. I'm going to die cut these, and then I'm going to die cut. I'm going to use Very Vanilla to cut out the background for so I want this one. It's just like the, and that should fit, maybe not. Hold on. I might need to cut a bigger piece. Hang on. Let me see. I need a scrap. I have a scrap right here. That's not big enough. Maybe this one. Yeah, that one's big enough. Okay, so we're going to use this to cut this, and I am going to use some Post-it note tape to hold that in place. Just a little piece. And hold it there. Then I need, you see, I used almost all the dies. I need this one. You see, it also has the other third image. So this one comes with the because and the just come with 3 different die cuts, 3 different layerings for your dies, for the words. Does that make sense? All right. We're going to add some tape to that so it doesn't move. I need the big flower die, which is here. I need the little center. So I'm going to layer this up. Come on. There we go. Okay. I'm going to use some Post-it note to hold this one in place. Like that. We're going to use this die for the flower, for the leaf. This is a long class today, y'all. Okay. If you're interested in getting the kit, the class kit for these cards, I'll send you everything you need, the embossed pieces, the vellum piece, the die cut vellum pieces, everything except for the stamped images or anything we used in the bundle, but I'll send I send the card kit out as a free gift for anybody who places a $50 order in my online store this week. So if you're interested in that, please, you know, go place an order. Or there's also a link where you can purchase the kit, and I'll send you everything already pre-cut, so that you can create the projects for yourself. Or if you really like this bundle, you already have it, and you want a kit where you can create 10 cards, I have a class going right now. Registration is open through the 29th, which is Sunday. You can register for the class. You'll make 10 cards, and there's a sneak peek. It's a Brush with Beauty One Sheet Wonder class. There's a sneak peek video on my YouTube channel that you can go look at and see what products come in the kit, and there's also a registration link in the description of this video. Or if you're interested in any other classes that I have coming up, sign up for my email newsletter and I will send out information on those. And Stampin' Up! Also has a new catalog coming out in May. So if you would like the new catalog, there is a button over on my blog that you can fill out and request a new catalog if you don't already have a demonstrator that is sending you a catalog. I would love to send you a catalog if you would like one. I actually will probably send out a reminder email about that as well, with a link to fill out the form for the catalog. So if you would like one, the new catalog comes out in May. We're coming out with Stampin' Up's doing a whole new catalog system where they're only going to have 3 catalogs a year instead of having like an annual catalog. Okay, where did my samples go? Where'd the card go we were just working on? Right here. I tucked it away. Yeah, so Stampin' Up! Is going to 3 catalogs a year instead of having 1 annual catalog, and then 2 minis. They're going to do that. And they've also, I don't know if you know, but they have a product of the month where if you order $75 worth of product, you place a $75 order, you can add on the product of the month for that month. This month was a really cute stamp set. I actually created 3 projects with the stamp set last week during last week's class. We already know what the product for April is going to be, and it is super cute. I'm excited for it to come out. Demonstrators we have to wait, just like our customers do. We have to wait for the product to come out. We have to place a $75 order in order to get the product for $5, just like our customers do. And so when we get the product, I am on a team of demonstrators that we create a PDF. It's 12 additional projects that you can create with the product of the month. And when you place a $75 order in my online store, you get that PDF for free. We usually send it out no later than the 28th of the month. We shoot for about the 25th. But with on stage and everything this month, we just got it out yesterday. So we'll do that again in April with a product of the month for April. So if you're interested and you want that PDF for free, you can either purchase it for $25 or place a $75 order in my online store, and I will send that to you free. So if you place an order anytime during the month of March, I'll send you the March's tutorial for free. It has to be a $75 order before tax and shipping and before any rewards are applied. Okay, so I'm just adding some adhesive to the back of this word, and I'm going to let it dry. And I could have used, like I said, what do you call it? The adhesive sheets. I don't know where mine are right now. I really need to do a craft room you know. Okay, so I am going to add my glue again to the leaf here. And I want, oh, look, I almost didn't. See, this is what happens. I almost left this on this piece of cardstock and didn't take it off, and I would have thrown that die away. Okay. There we go. Get that down in my bowl. I want to add a, oops, dimensional to this little piece here. We're going to add that to the center of our flower. Okay, I want it like that. Then I'm going to add, I position the flower this way because the petals or the leaves, you can see them underneath, all three of them underneath the flower when I turn it like this. Okay, so there we go. Actually, I think I had it turned this way. Yep, that's what I did, like that. Okay. Now, I want to grab my little word. We're going to layer it on to our background. And I'm not using the second layer. I'm just using the background and the word. I'm not using that second layer. And I'm just going to use my tweezers to help me like I did the first time. We're just going to use, and I also like to use liquid glue instead of the adhesive sheets, because if you have to move the words around, like if you have to scooch them around a little bit to get them to fit, or to get them to, you know, fit right in the space, you can do that when you use the liquid glue. It's a little more tedious, but I like to use it. Okay. I'm going to grab my twine again, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the twine. I like the lighter flower, but I'm not completely against the darker flower. What do you guys think? I mean, it matches the flower down here at the bottom, so I'm not 100% opposed to it, right? Okay, let's move our word up there. I'm going to grab my flower, and I'm going to do just what I did last time. I'm going to use my twine and put it behind, or the baker's twine, and use it, linen thread. I'm not using baker's twine, I'm using linen thread, guys. My goodness. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to loop it through my fingers and make sure I pull it enough to give me a big loop. To go behind the flower. Like that. I'm going to grab my tape. Just need a little bitty piece. And I'm going to tape that down. Grab my scissors. I'm going to snip that end, and then I'm going to snip this other looped end to make the tails. Isn't that pretty? Okay, now dimensionals again. We're going to, oops, I picked everything up. Both sheets. We're going to add dimensionals to our flower. Make sure we're all covered here. I'm going to do one right in the middle. Whoops, too many. and one right there. And go ahead and take the backings off of this. The full strength darker. I do too. You can see the detail a little better, right? All right. And now I'm going to put that right here on our card front, like so. And I don't mind if the linen thread hangs over the card, because when you put it in your envelope, it's going to you know, it'll just tuck itself in, or it'll fold over into the card. And I honestly think that when the linen thread is, I don't know, I just like the texture that it gives. This is by far, if I had to choose, linen thread would be my favorite embellishment that Stampin' Up! Makes. I don't know why, I just like it. Okay, now I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of our word, and we'll go ahead and put that in place. I don't think, I think I can get one there. Definitely one there, but I'm concerned about the top here. I don't think, look, it works. You just have to be very careful. I'm going to put it this way, and then I'm going to do, I should have moved my flower over this way a little bit. But I think that's okay, because that's how I have it down here. So let's go ahead. We're going to tack that down. This is why I try to lay things out before I add them. I think I'm going to add that like that, and then I'm going to tuck this one right here with some mini dimensionals right there in front of me. My fingers are too big and my nails are too thick that I have a hard time with the mini dimensionals, so that's why I use my take your pick tool to pick up these little dimensionals. With the bigger dimensionals, I don't have that problem. Okay. Ooh, how about we just put it right down here at the bottom? Like that. I think that looks pretty. All right, we'll add some of our little pearls. Do 3 there, and then I'm going to do 1 down here and 1 right there. And we'll add some adhesive to the back of our insert, and we'll be done with this one. I'll have all of these on my blog this weekend. I'll post one a day through, I think I go through, let's see, Thursday, Friday, through Saturday. So if you want measurements or anything, and you can see all the detailed photos for the projects, I'll have them posted on my blog, and I also start posting them on my Facebook page too, so that you can see. Oh, I lost one. I got one on my finger. So you guys can have all the, information. I'll also have supplies listed on my blog. No, the words are from the Words of Beauty bundle. Is that what you're talking about, Cheryl? The You're talking about the kit that has the 10 cards, the one sheet wonder kit. I don't know if you saw it, but these are the cards. Let me show you real quick. These are the cards that we'll create in that kit. And the words are actually from this set that we're using right now. So you'll get three cards on a white card base like this, and then you have three cards on a vanilla card base, and then we'll do the beige, yeah, four cards on a vanilla card base and three cards on the beige card base. I used the Petals of Beauty bundle for all of the leaves, for any of the leaf die cuts and any of the stamped leaves, but I didn't do any of the flowers in this kit. It's basically all just the leaves from the dies, and then the words came from the Words of Beauty. So, and you have the option to, if you don't already have these, you do have the option to add them on during registration. You can do it as an add-on during registration, and you pay catalog price. So that means you don't pay any extra tax or shipping on them. Um, the shipping is included with the kit. With this kit, it's the Words of Beauty One Sheet Wonder Kit, is $59, and shipping is included in that. And I would love for you to purchase a kit. Now, this kit here, you get it free for these three cards. I'll send you the kit when you place a $50 order, or you can just order the three card kit for $30, and that shipping is included in that also. But with that, I'll send you the card bases. You'll get a piece of the watercolor paper. You'll get a card piece of card, a pack with cardstock in it for you to do all of your stamping and die cutting, and then for you to cut out the words as well. You'll have paper to do that too. I just can't send stamped images. Stampin' Up! Demonstrators aren't allowed to send stamped images, but this kit, it's free with a $50 order. The other kit is $59. You get a PDF, you get the One Sheet Wonder cutting template, and you get everything that you need to create those 10 cards. And then you can add these two bundles on at registration. And the link for that One Sheet Wonder, the One Sheet Wonder class kit, is in the description of the video. I think if you, my cat, I think if you click the description, it should take you to either a landing page with all of that information. If not, if I didn't answer all your questions, the information is also on my classes and events page on my blog. Okay. And if you still have questions, please feel free to email me. You can message me on Facebook if you're on Facebook. Send me a message here. Email me at jana@stampedeninc.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay. Um, Thank you, everybody, for sticking with me. I know today's class was a little longer than usual, but the cards were a little more detailed than just our regular simple cards. But I love the watercolor technique today. I love the two-step stamping. Two-step stamping is my favorite stamping. So if you have any questions about any of the classes that we talked about, if you want a catalog, please subscribe to my email newsletter. I'll send out all the information about how to register to get a new catalog. If you have questions about the classes, email me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also, we do weekly sketch challenges over on my Stampin' Ink Creative Corner group on Facebook. The links are in the description of the video for all of that. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you next week. Okay, happy stamping. Bye.